Hi, readers. How are you today? Check out the ambiance. I'm doing foundations at night while you sleep, and now you're watching it in the day. Pretty cool. Okay, here we go. Let's start with our warm up. Repeat after me. A apple a. E ed e. I itch I. O octopus ah. Q u qua. X x. Y y. Z z. S bugs z. S snakes. TH thumb SH ship sh. CK sock k. ALL ball all. AM ham am. AN fan an. Nice job, my friends. And let's talk a little bit about some trick words. Again, instead of doing a race today, I would like to talk about the parts that make certain words tricky. Do you remember we did this the other day? Okay, so let's look at this trick word here. What does it say? Said. Like in a story, when a character says something, it might say, you can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man, said the gingerbread man. And we usually put it inside quotation marks, right? Okay, so if you look at said, how many sounds are there in said? S, d. There's three, right? What is the beginning sound? S, s, s. The S. Is that part tricky? No, it sounds the way it should. What is the ending sound? D, said. And look, it's a D. Is that part tricky? Nope. So here's the tricky part right here. This is the part that you really have to work on memorizing. AI for said. Let's spell it together. SAID. Said. And you know what? Let's take our finger, close our eyes, picture that order of letters, and write it on our desks. SAID. Said. Very good. Let's take a look at another trick word. What does this one say? Was. How many sounds do we hear in was? Let's count them. Was. Three sounds. Here's the first sound. W. Does that sound like the way it should? Here's the second sound. Wait a second. That sounds tricky. I'm going to put a line under it. It sounds like a U. It sounds like but it's an A. And what do we hear at the end? Was. Now we know that sometimes S can say Z, so I guess that part's not too tricky anymore. The A is the tricky part, so we have to memorize the vowel. Let's do the same thing. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and spell it. W-A-S, was. All right, very nice job on that, my friends. We're going to play a little bit of a game now. All right. Let me see. Okay. So, some words sound like they end with a suffix, but they don't. Let me show you. What does this word say? Let's read it together. Fox. Fox. It sounds like s at the end because what does X say? X. So sometimes it can be a little tricky and we have to think, is it a suffix or is it just the sound of the last letter? So take a look. I have here a syllable frame. So if we were to write the word fox, it's a one syllable word, one push of air, it would be just like that. We would not need the S to make it say fox. It says fox all by itself without the S. Now, look at this word. Let me erase that. And I'm going to change out a few letters. Ah, okay. What does it say now? Dogs. Yeah, dogs. So if I were to need to write dogs down here, I would write dog, and then I would need my suffix s, right? They're two separate parts. We have a base word and a suffix ending, but we have to have that suffix s in a word like dogs. Okay, so I need all of you to grab your whiteboard, and we are going to play a game where I'll say a word, and you'll tell me, do we need the syllable frame and the suffix, or do we just need the syllable frame? So we have to think, does the word I say have a suffix s or not? So we'll use this to help us. You'll write it on your whiteboard, and then we'll check and see if you're right. Okay, you have your whiteboard? All right, great. Repeat after me. Fix. Is there a suffix s? Do we need this in fix? We don't. So on your whiteboard, go ahead and write fix. Tap and separate those sounds and spell it. Fix. Fix. It's the X at the end that makes it sound like fix. Do you need to fix anything? Okay, here's our option. Let's decide if we need it. Fills. Is there a suffix s? She fills her lunchbox. Fills. Fills. Yeah, we do need it. Go ahead and make it say fills. Ills. What do you think? How does that look? Oh yeah, if it ends in an L right after a short vowel, we need a bonus L. Okay, let's star the bonus L and underline the base word, circle the suffix. Go ahead and do that on your whiteboard too. Nice job. Okay, let's erase. Here's your next word. Shops. What do you think? Suffix s in shops? There is. What's the base word? Shop. Shops. Shop. Go ahead and write shops. Tap it, spell it, write it. Okay, let's underline the digraph and underline the base word, circle the suffix. All right, nice job, everybody. We're going to stop right there because I have a word of the day for you, okay? Watch me go ahead and write it out. I'm going to write it and I'm going to build it right above. What does my word say? Can anybody read it for me? What's the base word? Shell. Shell. Here's my base word. Shell. Shells. Shells. What are shells? Yeah, like seashells. Have any of you ever collected seashells? Very cool. I love getting seashells at the ocean. Okay, so let's talk about this. What do we have in it? We have a digraph. And since we always do the base word first, the word would end with L. So we have to double it because it comes right after the vowel. So I'm going to go ahead and put a star over that bonus L. And then, of course, I circled my suffix. So we need a sentence for shells, since this is a word of the day. Well, that could be a good sentence. I collect shells. I'm going to turn this into a whiteboard for myself. And whenever we do a sentence, we have to start with an uppercase and end with a stop sign. So I'll do an uppercase I collect. That's a long word. I collect shells. And I'll put my period at the end. And I'm going to scoop it. I collect shells. Read it with me. I collect shells. You know the deal. It's a word of the day, so you have to put it in your student notebook. Very good. In the vocabulary section. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so if you go into vocabulary, and then you have to find the S, right? We have a lot of S's. We did shut and we did ships. And today you're going to do the same thing. You're going to write shells, mark it, and then write your sentence below. Let me put it up for you one more time here. Okay, go ahead and take your time neatly writing that and getting it marked in. Pause here if you'd like more time. Okay, and then we are going to go on to some paper. So go ahead and get the foundations paper from your teacher. And we are going to start by writing some sounds. Okay, so on that paper, repeat after me. I. Write the letter that says I. Okay, and you should have written I. I says I. Write that on your paper. For number 2, what says am? Check yours to mine. AM says am. And for our third sound, what says v? Write the letter that says v. V. Okay, nice job. Let's move on our paper. And let's do a couple of words that we have been working on. Like, how about, repeat after me, paths. Is there a suffix on that word? Paths. Yeah, what's the base word? Path. Tap out path and write it. Paths. 3 sounds. And then make it say paths. When you're done, I want you to mark the digraph and then underline the base word, circle the suffix, paths. Check it to mine when you're done. Okay, next, necks. Like, look at all the necks on the giraffes. Is there a suffix? So what's the base word? Neck. Tap out neck. Eh, 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 eh. K, k. Remember when k comes at the end of a word, and then make it say necks. Underline the digraph. Underline the base word. Circle the suffix. Check with mine. Necks. And then let's end today with one trick word. Let's do the word from. Tricky part, and then The tricky part is, sounds like a U, but it's